Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teachers in the Dungeon. I'm Tom Gross.
I'm Dan Ream, feeling oddly festive for a rainy November.
Yes, indeed. You know, when we planned this show, I was kind of reticent to do something like this so early. But I will say, what we're doing today, by the way, is we're going to give you our top gifts for the holidays for your D&D or RPG player. Like I said, I was a little reticent to jump into this quite so early. But I have to say, when I was leaving the homestead today to head over here to the dungeon, one of my children walked up to me with a finely tuned PowerPoint of their Christmas wish list. I mean, we were shopping last night over at Target, and I mean, it might as well be listed as holiday season. They were playing holiday music,
right?
And very, very strangely, you have the Christmas stuff coming up with Halloween decorations still highly discounted in those aisles.
Right.
So we're in that weird sort of transition, I guess. I don't know. I also noticed that my SiriusXM subscription, their holiday channels started recently as well. So
just kind of skip right over Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's just a day to eat, and we're midst of the holiday season.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. I'm not criticizing. I know some people that love it and they want to celebrate every ounce of holidays you can get, and I don't have a problem with that. It's just not for me, personally.
Okay.
Personally. I like the traditionalist of Thanksgiving, and then the day after Thanksgiving, that's when you get your Christmas stuff out and whatnot. But hey, you know what? The earlier you can buy presents, probably the better.
That's kind of what I was thinking with this, is give people some time here to listen to this and get some ideas.
Yeah, and not giving any spoilers here, but some of the things that you might want to buy still have to be made. And so it takes a little bit of time for those types of things to happen.
Right.
So good to be on the ball.
Yes. Yeah. Ahead of the curve a little bit.
You have about 6 or 7 items on your list?
I've got 6.
Okay. I do as well.
Okay.
How interesting. Okay. Well, do you want to start then, or you want me to get started?
Oh, yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
I tried to help narrow it down. I went with a theme of small business only.
Okay.
And furthermore, a lot of not every single one here, but almost all of these are very artisanal, I guess, artisanal, that you can, that these are not folks that go and resell something that they, bought in bulk or whatever. These are created or designed or, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I don't really have much of an order here.
I don't either.
Okay. I'm going to start with one that has, I would really push this one just because of the help that this individual, this business has been to us with our summer camp. Now, it used to be called 3ddb.io.
Yes.
I searched that. It is no longer that. It took me a while to...
Oh.
So you can now find this business at rebeccasfate.com.
Rebecca's Fate.
Yeah, REBEKAHS, fate.com. And I will put all these in the show notes.
Right.
But they are a 3D filament printer. They produce items for much wider than just RPGs, but all kind of in the fantasy realm. And basically 3D printed dice towers, fidgets, just little decor things that are very original, very
I like
cute.
their long dragons that are snake-like, and the kids can play with them, or you can just set them on a shelf in front of books or something, and it looks really cool.
I was going to say, one of the memories from this past summer's camp was one of our freshman boys just running around wildly with like a 3-foot snake that he won that they had donated to us. So yeah, so they donated. If you're new to the show, this Rebecca'sFate.com donated boxes and boxes of just amazing, intricate dice towers and other things that we could use for prizes and gifts for our kids. And they just watching their eyes when they saw all of those aligned at the front of our gathering space. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and so I'm going to share a story here that it's just an amusing story to talk pretty much about the durability of these as well as the likability of them. Our kids are, the kids that were at summer camp, and I'm thinking dice towers here primarily, but also timeout chairs and things like that. Those still show up.
Oh yes,
on the tables at Game Club. And the story I wanted to share about them that's kind of amusing is we had a situation in our school where we had to search bags as kids came in for a couple of days. And one of them was a Wednesday that is a Game Club day. And after school, I was walking down the hallway and one of the administrators was walking towards me. And she says to me, "Today must be a Game Club day." And I said, "Yes, it is." I said, "Well, why do you say that?" And she goes, "Well, when I was searching backpacks this morning, I came across all sorts of dice towers and dice and other stuff." I was like, "Yep, you know it."
Most kids just chose not to bring backpacks those days, but they had to to bring those dice towers.
Yeah.
Those are one of a kind. So her materials on her website, the gifts range from $5 and up. So, if you're on a budget, but you want something unique, just a little memento or anything like that, you can find some really cool sort of fantasy type decorations and little keepsake boxes and all that sorts of thing on there. So I think it's well worth a look.
Cool. I love that. And I think some of the things that are going to be on your list, I didn't put on mine because I assumed that you were probably going to talk about them. Right. So I tried to go different routes. So definitely we are so thankful for them, and they do have really cool stuff. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go big corporate here. Okay. For my first one, just to kind of get it out of the way. But I want to mention that if you have a really special player or friend or significant other, and they do not have this by the time the holidays roll by, it's a little pricey, but it's well worth it. And that is the new editions of the Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide.
Right.
As a pair, it would be about $100 if you buy it on Amazon. But if they don't have the players, get them the players. If they have the players, but they haven't quite picked up the Dungeon Master's Guide yet, which comes out as of this recording in about 2 weeks, pick that up for them. These are just going to be cornerstone books for the game. And I think that anybody that is an RPG or Dungeons and Dragons player this is something that they would want. The likelihood that they will have it by the holidays is pretty high. But maybe not necessarily. So just wanted to put that one out there.
I've kind of been holding off because that would be an easy, if the family says, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
Easy thing for them to find. And
I don't have that kind of patience. I don't. When we were at Gen Con and I was like, "Oh, it's going to be a lottery. I'm just going to pass on it." No, there I was getting up at 6 a.m. to get onto the lottery. And thankfully I got it, but then I'm so glad that I did. But I just
part of the experience.
I just don't have that patience to be like, I'll be over at the game store in 2 weeks and I'll be picking up the Dungeon Master's Guide. Yeah.
That's you kind of bought a memory as well, though, because you look at that and think, I got this at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Before everybody else, because I'm better.
Or quicker, one of the two. So definitely those two guides would be good ones for hardcore fans.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the whole 3D print concept here for our next one. Another small business guy that I actually interviewed at FlatCon.
Oh, okay.
And this is Phylos Worldbuilding, Phylos. And he's brand new. He's not even been in business a year. And he produces a wide range of, again, 3D printed accessories for the game table. But one of the cool things about it, he doesn't really overlap with Rebecca's Fate much at all.
Okay.
His angle is actually producing wearable accessories. So if you've got that kind of a table, someone gets a ring of spell storing. You can actually have a wearable ring to hand that person to wear during the game so that they remember.
I love that.
Bracelets. There are crowns and weapons and fidgets, all kinds of just really unique things.
That is cool.
And he offers them. And the crowning one, from my standpoint, is a 6-foot trident that he sells.
Yes, I remember you mentioning him. That's cool.
Now, the cool thing about that is, depending on your budget and depending on the person you're getting this for, the cheapest way is to buy it unassembled. Most of his products are good size, so they come in pieces. So you can either buy them like that and have, the person that you're giving them to can assemble them, or you can if you're handy that way. You can also order them completely painted up.
Okay.
If you've got the budget and you don't want to hassle with messing up a paint job, he will do that as well. Now, I imagine that would take a little more time, so you definitely want to get your order in soon. But it's definitely worth taking a look at his website. Now, I will say one thing. The website confused me a bit.
Okay.
You click into his menu and you go to the the list of crowns, for example, or list of rings. And he's got them all listed on what look like buttons, but when you push the buttons, nothing actually happens. There's a picture to the side with one of those little arrows. Mm-hmm. You got to advance. You got to click on the pictures to advance and see.
Okay.
So that's a very weird detail. I'm sure people would figure out much more quickly than I, but it took me a while.
I've been in that situation because you click the button, you're expecting like a new load or something, and it's just a subtle shift of an image, or sometimes they show up underneath and you got to scroll down.
Right.
So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those websites confound me all the time.
His opening price, the base price item, was $10. So $10 and up.
Okay.
Most of the really cool things start at 30 or 40.
Okay.
So a little kind of in line with Rebecca's Fate, just half a notch, maybe more expensive, just because it's more considerable.
Well, and just for the uniqueness of it, to me, is what that is. I'm just thinking, I was just sitting here while you were talking, and I was thinking about, okay, what sorts of wearable magic items do you guys have in Waterdeep that would be cool to say, here's, I can't even, I can't think if any of you have rings or not, but like bracers or something like that. And then you gift those to your players. And then when they show up every time you play, there they are with their bracers on, and they've got their ring of, whatever store spelling on their finger. I don't know. It's just kind of a fun thing that adds to the game.
And medium term, I'm definitely going to get one of those tridents just to put on my wall.
That is cool.
Because my favorite characters to play are tritons.
Yes.
It's fated. It's meant to be.
I love it. That is so cool. All right. Gosh, one more reason to be disappointed that I didn't make it to FlatCon. Maybe he'll come to Star Wars Day. I don't know. We'll see.
I think he probably
That would be cool. That would be cool. All right. My second one is, again, I'm sticking with the big guns here, but this one is for sheer enjoyment and pleasure and a bit of ambiance as well. I'd like to go with the big ticket item here, but it's a pretty big ticket item, so I'm just going to go with the, shall I say, mini ticket item, and that is the Dungeons and Dragons Lego minifigures. If that was in my stocking, I would squeal with joy. They are so cool. I don't know if you remember seeing those in the case at Gen Con.
I've seen them a lot online. It's definitely, there's buzz about them when those came out.
Yeah, and you can buy them. So Lego is smart, but also it's a little irritating from the consumer side of things, but they're smart, and they put them in mystery bags and boxes. So you're buying it, but you don't really know what you're getting. So if you want to get something specifically, you'll probably have to go to like a second market like eBay or someplace like that. But their individual packs are $4.99 for a little Lego minifigure. It's like, that's a lot. But I'm thinking it's a unique piece.
For Christmas, I feel like that kind of value to money thing goes out the window when I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
$4.99, I can easily put that down if it's something cool that someone wouldn't buy for themselves.
Right. Then they also do have the Lego Dungeons and Dragons 6-pack. That's $30 on Lego.com. And then I'm just going to drop it anyway because it's the big ticket item. And man, if this were to show up under the tree for me, my life could be done. Not really. I'm just kidding. And that is
we killed him with a Christmas present.
Well, he did say.
At least he died happy.
And that is the Red Dragon's Tale of the Lego Dungeons and Dragons, where it is the $360 huge set with the red dragon, the inn, a castle wall. I don't know if all the minifigures are in that or not, but there's a bunch of them. You get a beholder that comes in there and some other creatures, but that dragon and the inn just in and of themselves are just so unique. And I know it's a huge ticket, but boy, it is a cool Lego piece. That's something you build, you put on display, and when people visit your house, they talk about it, you know. It's just, I personally, I love Legos. I still buy and build Legos, primarily Star Wars Legos, but this is a piece. I really wish they'd come out with small Dungeons and Dragons pieces or sets that weren't $300. You know, I'd buy two $30 sets or, you know, a $60 set or something like that without thinking too much about it. I mean, I might have to smuggle it into the house, but it would eventually get found. But it's already together, so there's no complaining. But this $359 is just it's a hard one, but man, is it cool!
I think Lego has really done a good job, sort of cornering that market. Nobody's really been able to muscle in on what they offer.
Right. I
mean, there's a few that have tried, but they've never been just quality or whatever is just not there. I feel like.
Agreed.
But okay, sticking with familiar faces and businesses.
Okay.
I think it's against the law to have a list of D&D gift ideas without mentioning dice. I think you have to.
I think we would lose listeners.
So our friend Jamie at D20 Dinner.com does just amazing work. It's really been, I think we got to know her just before she really went into making this a shop.
Yes.
So she was still figuring out how can I not mass produce, but how can I produce at a level that I would actually be able to sell, and what would people like? What should I go with? And it's just been really exciting to see her skills just bloom.
Yeah.
The dice that she puts out are, the sets are one of a kind. You cannot find anything that looks like them elsewhere. And the fact that it's a handmade gift, that it's, and she will do commissions as well. So if you have someone in your life that does RPGs and you have an idea of what kind of dice they like, colors, a birthstone color, whatever that would be, you could you could get in contact with her and she will do commissions. You have to check. Sometimes she gets overwhelmed and has to shut them down.
Yeah.
But even then, she's got dice, and I just love the names that she started to come up with.
Okay.
She's got Bargain of the Abyss dice, Cosmic Bowling,
nice.
Stormbreaker, My Bloody Valentine. These are just very evocative names. And the lowest price is $35 for a set. But they top out at I think for just the resin dice that she makes it, $55.
Okay.
Probably a commission would be more, but again, $55 for a gift that's one of a kind. I think that's well worth considering.
Oh, I mean, if you have the opportunity to hold her dice or just even see them, you know why those price points are where they are. They're recognizable. They're so well done. And I mean, I'm just going to say it. She's a person that I want to support on top of it. She's a great human being. Has donated our time for our Star Wars Day, or I'm sorry, our summer camp, but also comes to our Star Wars Day. Just a special person. And so just that on top of it, I don't question it, but the product is what sells it. Yeah. It's great stuff. I was going to say, speaking of commissions, our friend Brian commissioned a set of dice with her. And now I'm trying to remember what's inside of them. Bats or something? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think
or
I'm
hawk.
going to steal them when he's not looking, though, because they are cool.
Yeah, they are cool.
It's this deep blue, but there's just a tinge of gray, I feel like, through it. That's just really, really beautiful.
So good call on that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I've done 2 big companies. So let me come to something a little bit more local and personal. Local and personal, but will sell to you wherever you are, I'm sure. And this is a game that we play at our game club on the days that we do have RPGs, but we run out of DMs. We have more kids that want to play Dungeons and Dragons than we have students and adults to lead games. And so when we discovered these guys and discovered that they have a system of Limitless Adventures, that's the name of the product.
Right.
I was so excited about that. And so this is the Limitless Adventures, and the box or the gift that I'm talking about is, it's Limitless Adventures is the name of the company. The product I'm talking about is Limitless Adventures. It's a box that has cards inside of it. I think there's six decks of cards. I could be wrong. It might be 5. And 4 or 5 of those are adventures. And then one of them is like items and spells or something like that. I haven't really used those yet. But you can have a table of people with 5e characters, but it doesn't have to be 5e characters. It could be Pathfinder characters or what is DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classic character. It could be any fantasy characters that you're playing with, and you use these cards, and they lead themselves. So everybody gets a set of cards, and then you look through the cards, and you have different scenarios. You've got like combat, you have a puzzle, you have role play, and a few other things. And so everyone kind of looks at their cards, and then they draw a card, and they put it onto the table in a row. And whatever color deck you have, there's a start and an end card. So you put the start and the end out there, and then everybody puts their cards in between there. And then whoever places theirs next to the start, they run the game for that section. And then there's a little booklet that comes with it, and so you flip your card and you read what it says, and then the person who's running it opens a little booklet, and it gives more description. It gives you the encounter or the puzzle or whatever it is that everyone has to figure out. And then once you resolve that, it just goes to the next person, and now I'm done DMing, and it goes to the next person, and they flip their card, and it's just so cool. It's a great way to be able to play a game without a DM, and you can still give yourself experience by solving the problems and and defeating monsters and whatnot. But they're so replayable,
right?
Because I had 5 choices to put out there. I only chose 1. There's 4 other choices that we haven't placed. And who's to say that if we all sit down at the same time that 1 or 2 of us might still choose the same one because we're like, that was cool. But there's 4 decks. And so there's lots and lots of ways to replay these games.
And judging from the reaction in Game Club, this is a very well-designed, successful game, because we have every time. It's that part of the room is never empty. There's always people there playing.
Yeah, and last year we had a couple of people. I was a little worried because we had a couple of people that were like, I might just do this on RPG days. And I was like, I was kind of thinking you might DM next year. He did, by the way. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. And one thing that I really like about it is if you've got players who really can't commit to every single time, people can come and go. It doesn't really matter because you're doing one-shots every single time you sit down. And if you don't finish the adventure, you don't finish the adventure. You're done. Okay, well, our time's up. We got to go. Let's see. We finished these 2 cards. They're worth 500 experience points. Blah blah blah. You move on. So they have that 1 through 3 level box, and then there's a 4 through 6 level box, I think, or something like that. You have two series of boxes that are for different levels of characters. I think it's genius. It's really, really easy to learn and play. So if you've got that RPG player who just, loves to play but doesn't have friends that can regularly play but sometimes play, this might not be a bad gift for that kind of person. I also, if you are a parent and you've got your kids that want to play, but your kids are busy, you're busy, this is something that you could just, when things are slow, you're on a holiday or something like that, you could be like, hey guys, grab your characters, let's just sit down and play for a couple hours, and you get that set out. There's no prep on anybody's side. You get your characters out, you play for about the same length you play Monopoly or another game like that, and you get a little RPG play going. So I think it's a great thing for families as well.
Yeah. My third one is another sort of old standby, but again, trying to offer a variety of options. So we've gone through dice towers and dice and things of that nature. And I've kind of alluded to, decorative things for the game room.
Yep.
And so sometimes you may have a player in your life that you want to buy for that is trying to set up a game room and maybe you want to elevate it a little bit. So how about some art?
Nice.
So again, friend of ours, Alan Morris, we've had him on the show. We've talked multiple times about his stuff, but he does offer fantasy scenes. So I've got a couple in my basement, in my game room. And for me, just kind of looking at those images kind of helps put me in the mood for Dungeons and Dragons. There's just some really
100%.
just really evocative. Like he's got one where there's just a man sitting on a ruined archway
yeah.
and just kind of looking into the distance, sketching, and it just looks like a fantasy world. Quiet, nothing violent, nothing anything like that. It's just a beautiful
That's the first one
scene.
You got, right? Yeah, I love that one. It sits right there by the table.
Yeah. And there's another one where all you see is hands holding a helmet, which I think is also pretty cool. But he does offer, you can go to his website, you can get things like that. He also illustrated re-releases of the Belgariad fantasy series from back in the 80s and the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. So if you have someone in your life that is familiar with either of those series, again, they're probably a little older like us because those came in when we were first diving into fantasy, then that might be something to consider is because he's able to sell those as well. So you can buy a single illustration from one of those books. His prices are right around $45 for a print, which again,
that's reasonable.
It's not. I was going to say, particularly for a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
So, that would be something to definitely consider.
I love that. I think art is always a cool gift. It's unique. Especially if you know the artist like you do, that's really cool. But even if you don't know the artist, it's an original piece of work, really well done. And I never thought of that aspect that you just mentioned about Alan's. In the 2 pieces that you have, there's nothing violent about them. It's just fantasy. It's inspiration. Yeah. They kind of make you wonder. And I've oftentimes when we're at the game table, I look at that one of the guy sitting in the arch and I think, what is he sketching? Like, is there more to that ruin that he's enjoying and sketching down? And I don't know. I think it's really cool. And the imagination that comes from that art is just fascinating. So
yeah,
great. Alan's a great guy. I know you play games with him, but when we've seen him at Gen Con, just really, really nice person. Very cool.
What you got next?
Yeah, next I have a company that I discovered at Gen Con this last year. And boy, I will tell you, if I walked past this booth in the middle of the day, I probably would have walked past it. I caught this one. In fact, Mark and I caught this one. It was like half an hour before the exhibit hall closed, and people are filtering out instead of looking around. And I actually got a chance to look at this booth and see what was there to make me stop. And so I have them here with me. It doesn't help any of you, but Dan can see them. So they have on their display, they have, I don't know, 50 to 100. I know that's a very vague and large difference, but I didn't count, but it was very wide. It was like a double table of just decks of cards. And when I took a closer look, the part that I was standing by were all NPC cards. And then they give you different like scenarios where these NPCs might show up. So knowing the Waterdeep and we're in a city and you run a tavern and all of that, I picked up the NPC portraits deck of tavern staff and patrons.
Oh.
But they have many others like castle or noble NPCs or market merchants NPCs and things like that. And so what you get is a deck of NPC cards that on one side you get images of who that person is, so that you don't really have to describe them to the person. To your group, you can just kind of hold the card up and say, this is the person that you are meeting. And on the back, they give the name at the top and the species. So the one I'm looking at is Drayon Monte. He's a human, and he's an owner and an entrepreneur. Then they give you personality, quirks, extra service, their sad story, leverage, and why this life. Why did they choose this life? Then at the very bottom, they give what might be a common quote from them. So Drayon Monte's common quote might be, I just might have an opportunity for you. And so it's just, there's always that. And this always happens to me where I'm going to go into this building. I know you've shared many stories where you made a map with all the buildings and we just randomly just kept going into them. This would be the time where you're like, okay, I'm going to pull out this deck and just see who I can put in there really quickly to just sort of add to the flavor of the adventure. So they have those cards. They did, it appears, have some sort of a collaboration with Kobold Press because they had all of the creature codex monsters in different decks of cards.
Oh, okay.
I think Mark picked up one of them. So I think actually Mark picked up the entire creature codex set. And so he's got the cards of all of those creatures that are in that book.
So what's the name of the company?
Yep, thank you for reminding me. Inkwell Ideas. Inkwell Ideas is the name of the company. Just to talk to them and visit with them, just a nice group of people. I believe, this one don't hold me to, I didn't look up online, but I believe I bought this deck for $14.
Okay.
In fact, I think this is the one. Let me see if I've got a note here. Yes. So right now, early November, when I looked at this deck, it was on sale for $4.99 online on their webpage. So huge discount.
Okay.
And a lot of them that I saw, they did have sales. There's no promise it'll stay that way, even when this show releases. But if this sort of thing interests you, that's definitely something to go look at their website to see if those sales are still there. I don't know. This might be something I'll pick some of these up for some of our DMs at the end of this school year.
Oh, that would be a really good idea. They would love that.
So anyway, really, really neat company. I like these cards. The art on the cover, the art that you show your players is pretty cool. All very unique and different. A fun thing to bring to the game.
Last couple here. One is vaguely familiar. I should say vaguely. Part of it's super familiar, part of it maybe not. And I'm also I'm heading toward luxury here as we go forward for the last couple.
Okay.
So if you have a gamer that likes miniatures and likes painting them, then the company that you will definitely want to check out is Creature Caster.
Okay.
Creature Caster, Caster. They produce a ton of different minis, but they are like super intricate, high quality. You can use the mini in the game, but it also, if you paint it up, if you're good at painting and you paint these up, they become sort of little mini pieces of art for you to just display.
Cool.
So again, like I said, intricate details. They are more expensive because it's let's be honest, tiny piece of plastic or resin, and they start at $20. But they are worth it for a person who likes to paint, who really is into the blending and all of that goes with that. That is definitely something to consider. And they partner with another of our friends, Cephalopod Studios, Ryan Calhoun, and he sells his Cuttlefish Colors paint line through them.
Okay.
And I can attest, I mean, I'm not a good miniature painter. I do it because I hate just a bunch of gray things on the table. It needs to be painted. Yeah. But I can see the quality of his paint is out of this world. The base coats go on so smooth and so beautiful that for me that's enough. But that's not what you're supposed to do. He's got actually 3 different types of paint that you put the base coat on, and then there's blending and some other effects that just make it amazing. And you can get a set of his starter set of paints. I believe there's 16 colors for $40.
Okay.
Which is actually not that bad for miniature paint.
Okay.
Because if you are not familiar, you're going to see these tiny little bottles and think, really? But honestly, you only need a drop of paint of any particular color for the most part when you are painting. I've been painting miniatures off and on for 5 years, and I have yet to actually drain an entire bottle of any color I have. So
nice.
That's definitely worth considering, I think.
Did you see me glaze over while you're going through all that description of painting? And that is one thing I have not gone into, but I know from hearing you talk about it and seeing the figures that have been painted with those paints at our local game store that it's good stuff. Gosh, that's something I've always wanted to do, is learn how to be a good miniature painter, or at least a functional miniature painter. And I can't get off the fence on that one. I don't know. It just looks...
You just need to pick a cheap mini that you don't care about and just start.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if you're like me and you're looking at these going, okay, this looks really cool, I'm sure your local game store can tell you what kind of brushes, which paints. And this one that Dan is recommending is, we both know him. He's a class guy. He's very particular in wanting to do good things and doing the right thing. So we know that this is good stuff. So one of these days, I will get that miniature. I mean, I started a project over the summer. I'm building a model, and it's still sitting there halfway done, and it's November. So, I mean, that's the time I get to take down, to go down into my area where I do crafts, and then my model from the summer is still sitting there. So, all right, I got to do something. Yes,
shame.
It is shame. Okay, let's see. My next one is, we've talked about these on the show before. We've had the authors on the show before of this next set. If you have young players or people that or students that love RPG or just love the fantasy realm, these are books that I think all kids that like this sort of thing should have. And this is the Young Adventurers collection. They have 2 boxes of collections of these books. You can buy them individually in a beautiful hardback, which we also have when we interviewed Jim Zub and Stacey King and Andrew Wheeler. But they now have them in box sets to where you can buy 5 of them at one time. And I apologize, I did not do the research and find out how much it is. I want to say it's in the $20 to $30 range for 5 books that your student will dig through. The art in them is fun. The writing is written for middle school kids. But I will say, as an adult, I love flipping through these books as well. They bring great inspiration, give me some cool ideas. They have things in there that I wouldn't have thought how to use a weapon or how to use a marshland in an adventure. They've got all of that kind of stuff in there. And so between the art and the writing, the themes of the books are just so well done. And so if you have a middle school, high school student who loves RPGs, in the fantasy genre, these are books that you want to have.
Nice. Yeah, I know what you're meaning. They're definitely aimed at kids, but an adult in your life would also find them quite useful, I think.
I would agree too.
Yeah. All right, my last one. This is for folks with large piles of disposable income.
Okay.
And we'll just say this. But these things are so amazing that they're worth just going to the website and looking.
Okay.
So we saw these guys. I talked to them briefly. I don't think I might have interviewed him. But anyway, I think I saw him at GaryCon first.
Okay.
But this is the Weathered Dragon. And this is an outfit that produces game tables.
Yes.
Gaming tables. Now, they don't have to be for RPGs, but that's clearly what they're aimed for. But these things are unparalleled. They are hardwood, handmade. They have different designs that they'll make for you, but again, it feels very personalized. They have sort of the sunken play area. They've got storage spaces for your books and your dice and your minis. They've got plugins to where you can, as the dungeon master, you've got a space where you can set up your laptop and program music or lights that will change as you need them to at the push of a button. They've got pillars. Some varieties, pillars around the edge with lanterns just to add a little more atmosphere. It's just unbelievable. You can get a hexagonal table. You can get just a regular rectangular one. You can get it normal size or bar stool height. They're one of a kind. They really are. They ship in pieces, but if you're within range, I don't know what that is. I just saw that on the website. But if you're within range, for the price of the delivery, they will actually come to you and set it up for you.
Nice.
So it is. Now, this is, what's all that cost, you ask?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bargain at any price, but quick edit here. I wanted to make sure I got everything correct. From what I can tell from the Weather Dragon website, the prices range from $8,500 up to I think to about $13,500. So this is beyond the means probably of most. But if you happen to be listening and for whatever reason there's you really want to do something special for someone, a once in a lifetime event or whatever, this is definitely worth looking at. Just because, again, this would probably be for a family that's all in for gaming. Having this piece in your game room is
it's the thing to have in your game room. I remember seeing these at GaryCon as well, and like the sides of the tables just seemingly come apart for all these little drawers and nooks for your drinks, your dice, you mentioned your books, and just it's like I mean, when you're a pilot in an airplane and you've got everything around you that you need, right?
They've thought of everything.
It's like that.
Yeah. And these guys are woodworkers. This is I don't mean to cast aspersions, but this is not a group of great idea guys who farmed this out to, we'll just buy the parts from some other country and assemble them. No, these are woodworkers. They do this themselves.
Right.
So it is the highest quality wood and finish and all of it. It really is amazing.
They have the craftsman's tools, and they've got high rolls for their skill checks. Expertise. Yep. Everything. They are beautiful tables.
Yes.
For sure. I'm not the kind of person, if I won the lottery, that I would, be like, oh, I won the lottery, but there would be signs. There would be signs, and that table is one of those signs.
Yeah, I think so.
But you don't have to win the lottery to buy them. I'm just using that as an example. Very, very cool. So we're down to my last one. I still have a couple on here, but I'm going to stick with this one. Again, we've interviewed this individual many times, and he has created his own world that he played in and he designed, and now that he has created the book for his world. I do not believe that book, I looked on RPG Drive-Thru today, I do not believe the book is for sale on RPG Drive-Thru at the moment, but I don't think it'll be long before it is. But here's what I'm going to suggest is buying their series of books on monsters. And what I'm talking about is Cawood Publishing. They have a great series of books on monsters. And just alone, those books are great. But if you are like me, and I've kind of bought into his series because they just have so many cool things. And now that his World of Mir is out there, I just received the book. I was at Kickstarter, just received the book, and I'm just pouring through that thing. It is really cool to read through all of that. And just the amount of, and you know this from the world that you create for all of us in Telesaria, which I always mix up. Is that the continent? That the country?
It's neither. It's just the name of one little region that you guys visited one time, and I used it as the name, and it's just stuck.
It's just stuck. Okay. Anyway, Andrew Cawood has just created this an amazing world, and he has all the monsters to go into it. And the reason I suggest getting the books of the monsters before or at the same time you get the World of Mir is because he makes reference to the creatures and the NPCs that are in those books in his World of Mir book. So it's really, really cool. They also have a couple of adventures that are coming out. One of them hits Kickstarter, I think the week that this show will release. But he has really, really cool stuff. It's high quality, has really cool art. He's used the same artist throughout all of his books. And so there's consistency, and it's not just, it's convenient to stick with the same guy. No, he's stuck with the same guy because it's good stuff. And it really fits Andrew's writing style and the levity of creatures that he puts in there with some great, like, tongue-in-cheek sort of names. And they're all escaping me at the moment, but these are fun books and fun characters and monsters to play. So look at RPG Drive-Thru. You can also go to, I believe it's Cawood's website. You can see them all there.
World of Mir, is that?
World of Mir, and it's MYRR.
Yeah.
So check out the stuff that he has. It's reasonably priced, and it would definitely be a cool thing to see under the tree, to open it up and be like, oh, nice, a new world or a new set of creatures. A lot of good fun.
Yes. I am feeling even more festive than when we started.
Yeah, I've got some people in my house I need to send this show to.
I was going to say, I'm feeling very acquisitive. I want all these things. But.
Yes, yes. Okay. The one thing we probably should have mentioned at the very beginning is we were not paid by anybody to bring these up.
Right.
None of these are sponsored or paid for.
They don't even know we're doing this.
Right. And so just wanted to put that out there. These are just companies that we feel strongly about, and just we want to reward all the creativity that goes into all of the things, everything from the books that are made to the art that's created to the dice and everything else. These are just great people to support. Most of them, I don't want to say most of them, some of them, it's their second job. They have a day job that they do, and they just, out of passion of the hobby and the craft and loving to share what they do with others, I just love that. So, alrighty, it's time to now go to your Google machine or get on your computer and start looking up some of these links, and keep in mind the people that you play with. Maybe you're the DM, or think about your DM and what did we talk about today that your DM or your players would really, really enjoy. So, well, I guess that wraps things up for today.
Yeah.
Good shopping and good luck for you. And if you have anything that you're like, why didn't they talk about this? Let us know.
Right.
teachersinthedungeon@gmail.com. Let us know. We can talk about, there's plenty of time between now and the holidays that we could share some of those things that maybe we've forgotten or that we didn't know existed. So let us know. You can also reach out to us on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Teachers in the Dungeon. YouTube is Teachers in the Dungeon as well. Twitter is @DungeonTeachers. So for Dan, I am Tom. Happy holidays, everybody, or almost happy holidays, depending on where you land in that belief system. So until next time, keep rolling those 20s.